Are you being able to see the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So today we will discuss a heuristic hardware software partitioning strategy. This strategy was first proposed by Frank Wahid in 1997, and we will actually see a variant of this strategy. Uh, so as so this is also a state space search strategy, as you will see, but it is not an optimal strategy. It is a heuristic strategy and deterministic in the sense that every time this strategy runs, it will produce the same result on the same problem at hand with the same initial partition. The only thing or the only way by which this algorithm can produce different results for the same problem if you use a different initial random partition. So the point here is that this heuristic partitioning strategy starts with an initial partition randomly generated hardware software partition. Then it moves one task at a time between partitions to progressively improve the cost of the partition. Okay. And it maintains an approximately balanced partition after every move. So let us see what we mean by that. So before saying what we mean by that, let us see what is the exact problem we are trying to solve. Let us make the problem a bit more complex than we than the one we considered for optimal scheduling. I am using this white space to write the problem that I'm just using a changed formulation for the problem. So let this problem be minimize software execution cost subject to a lower and upper bound on hardware area cost. Okay, so let us solve the problem, use this fiducia matrices for this problem. Now see that this is also realistic. First let us appreciate that this is also a realistic problem instance. So what are you trying to do? You are given a task graph, and for that task graph you have to do a hardware software partitioning, and you want to do such a partitioning such that the time taken, the execution time taken by that code, by that controller is minimized, while ensuring that your total hardware area cost is within a certain bound. Meaning that you appreciate that if you have all tasks in hardware, then you will not require any execution time. Means because you have told that your hardware execution hardware if you are executing in hardware, your execution time is negligible. You have already told that, and you have told that if you are executing in software, your area cost is negligible. But if you are executing in software, you have significant execution time cost. If you are executing in hardware, you have significant area cost. And so now what is the problem that we are trying to solve? We want to minimize software execution cost subject to the fact that you are given a lower bound and an upper bound on area cost. Okay. 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 And let us further say that your lower bound and upper bound is specified in terms of this lower bound and upper bound on area cost is specified in terms of an expression. this. So let us understand this expression. Here Wx is the hardware area cost. Area cost. Yes, and Wx union y is the total area cost. So y, x is the hardware partition, y is the software partition. But everybody has an h value. So everybody has an h value. So therefore, you can find out Wx union y. Wx union y is the total hardware area cost of all tasks. That is summation hi over all tasks. Right? So this is Wx union y. And you are saying that you have a constant r less than equals to 1, where Wx is the total size of 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 tasks, not cells, it is tasks, of tasks in x. That means, so your total area cost of the tasks in the hardware partition x is given by Wx. To preserve balance, a task B is moved in a pass. Forget moved in a pass. You say, you think of this time, at this moment you think that, you say that balance is preserved, balance remains preserved if the following expression is always true. Let r be something less than 1. Let us say for your problem, we have decided r equals to 0.5. So because we have told r is less than equals to 1, let us say r equals to 0.5. And you have also taken a value for S max. So depending on your problem that you have, this value of S max and R you have to give. This is designer's constraint. These parameters will be fixed by the designer. That means what, how your so, and how will the designer fix? Depending on the problem he has. For example, suppose you have a minimum hardware area that you need to say that some of the tasks you must keep in hardware. So you have to choose which of the tasks you will put in hardware, but you cannot put more than a certain number of tasks in hardware. So you have a minimum hardware area lower bound and you have a maximum hardware area lower bound. Depending on that, you will need to keep a ratio of how much you want to keep in software and how much you want to keep in hardware. So how much you want to keep in hardware and how much you want to keep in software. Let us say that ratio is around 0.5. That means you are saying that you want half of the task to remain in software, half of the task to remain in hardware. That is you want. You could have taken any other value of r depending on the problem you have. And you also, suppose you say fix S max equals to 0.15. So that means you will say that your partition, your hardware is to software area proportion is balanced if your hardware area is within W. So at any point, so what is W? Sorry, W equals to this. W is Wx. W is sorry, Wx union y. Wx union y has been told to be capital W here, right? So if R into capital W minus S max is less than equals to Wx, which is again less than equals to R into W plus S max. So which means, suppose at any point in time, your half of the tasks are actually in hardware. So what do you have? 0.5 into some capital A, 0.5 into capital A minus 0.15 should be less than equals to Wx should be less than equals to 0.5 into capital A plus 0.15. Are you with me in
Sir,
understanding what you mean by
uh,
balance?
sir, S max is the maximum cost.
Imbalance, the
That is
imbalance that you will be able to tolerate. So R
this.
is the perfect balance, and S max tells you the maximum imbalance plus minus that you will be able to tolerate above or below the perfect balance.
So, sir, S max is in terms of hardware area cost. So, because
Right.
RW would.
Everything is hardware area cost here. Wx is hardware area cost. Wx union y is hardware area cost. R is a fraction for balance.
Answer S max is.
S max is also in terms of area. What is the area imbalance that you can tolerate? That
Okay,
your
sir.
problem can tolerate.
Yes. So it's
Yes,
also of unit of cost.
yes, yes. Area cost.
Yes, sir.
Area.
Yes, sir.
So, so above and below the perfect balance, how much can you tolerate? Obviously, depending on problem, you could have S max up and S max low. You could have two values. You could have kept, but for simplicity, here they have kept this. When you design your problem using the basic framework of Educia matrices, you could always keep the upper one to be S max U and the lower one to be S max L, right? Two values. Understood what I'm saying, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is all on balance. We will now go into the algorithm.
Sir, WX union Y
Yes.
represents the hardware cost of
No,
the actual hardware thing and
summation.
software
No.
hello.
You remember that we said that for all tasks you find out small hi. This
Yes, yes,
summation hi. Uh,
yes, yes.
right. So that is the summation of
Okay,
hi,
okay,
which is
okay,
capital A,
okay, okay.
which we took for the last example. We took it to be capital A, if you remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. So with this, let us come to the algorithm. Now, now you have an idea of what a balance means. So you start with an initial random partition P x union Y. You start with a randomly generated partition. But the only issue is that that partition should be able to support this balance criterion. And you know what balance is? You can always generate a random partition which satisfies balance. Goodness is not your need. You can always go on generating. Suppose you randomly generate partition. It is imbalanced. You throw away that partition. You don't take. You create another random partition. Again, check for balance. So that random partition which satisfies your minimum criteria on balance is your initial partition. Given that you have two loops in essentially. What are these two loops? There is an inner for loop. This is an inner for loop and an outer repeat loop. So the whole algorithm revolves around two loops. Okay. So let us see what happens. Let us go inside the inner for loop. So you have gone into one repeat loop and as you have gone into the inner for loop. That inner for loop goes from I equals to 1 to n, where n is the total number of tasks. Right? N is the total number of tasks. So choose a free task or just a task for the time being, unless I tell you why you require this term free. Choose a task B from X union Y from any partition. From any partition you take X union Y, any of the two partitions you take, and such that moving B to the other side gives the highest gain. Now, what do you mean by gain? Gain in terms of improving the software execution time cost. For you, for the problem at hand, gain in terms of minimizing the software execution time cost. So you understand that for any given partition, so the initial partition, let us say P equals to X comma Y, it has a given software execution time cost, right? The partition. which is equal to the total cost of the tasks currently allocated to software, total execution time cost of the task currently allocated to software, right? So that is the current software execution time cost. Now what do? You take a task and you exchange it to the other side. You exchange it to the other side so that your execution time, your software execution time is the improvement in terms of software execution time is highest. You choose that task, right? And the other criteria is that moving B to the other side should preserve balance. You will only move that task. Two criterions for moving. From any of the partitions, you took a task, you take a task, and moving to the other side, you will move that task to the other side, which maximizes gain. And then that movement should also preserve balance. It should not make the partition imbalanced. Are you with me up to this? Yes, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, therefore, you tell me, I understand that when you take a task from software to hardware, your execution time cost, software execution time cost reduces, right? Which is your objective. So how could it be that taking a task from hardware to software could also minimize? So it will never be the case that when you take a task from hardware to software, you will gain in terms of your software execution time cost. Can that happen?
No, sir.
That can happen because of the data communication. Let us take a scenario and try to understand this situation. I have created an example. It's a very it's a toy kind of an example, but you will be able to appreciate what I want to say. So I'll take this space up. What I want to mean when I say this, because I am giving you this example for two reasons. What does gain mean? Gain may not always be a positive gain. Point number one. That is what that is one point I want to impress. And the gain, the negative, the highest positive gain could mean the lowest negative gain, and that your movement from hardware to software can also result in lower software execution time cost. Okay. These are the two things I'm trying to say. Let us say that you have a task graph like this. Okay. And the initial partition is So this is your given partition. And let us suppose that the software execution time cost of all these tasks are very low, only one. So what are these numbers on the edges? These numbers are the data communication time costs. And remember the problem that we discussed last day? We had this problem at hand. We had this problem at hand. We said that what is the software execution time? How does means we are actually doing the opposite problem, but but now we are considering a task graph. So that task graph has data execution time cost and computation cost as well, and it is composed of summation yi plus this. You remember this? How do you get the software execution time?
Sir, we added the communication time.
We added a communication time Cij, and we said that Cij is incurred if you have an edge Eij and Ti and Tj are in opposite platforms, different platforms. Either Ti is in software and Tj is in hardware, or Ti is in hardware and Tj is in software. Right? So if that is so, you incur this cost Cij. If you remember this, you see that. So now why I took these big values, I have created an example to show that, see what is happening. This 12, 40, these do not incur any cost at this time, because this is one side of the partition, say x, and this is the other side of the partition, say y. So now the cost of the partition here is that this side is also 3, this side is also 3, the execution time cost. So that is not the problem. The point here is that you have 2 plus 20, which is crossing the partition. That means because B is in software and D is in hardware, so you will incur a data communication time cost of 20 here. Because C is in again software and D is in F is in hardware, you will incur a data communication cost of 2 here.
Sir?
Yes.
So you did not tell about hardware balancing here, like is it balanced or not?
Forget balance for that. Balance we discussed. Just try to understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm not trying to solve the entire problem. I'm trying to explain you a scenario in which you could have, when you take a task from hardware to software, you could have a gain. So my point here is that suppose if you have when the data communication costs are higher and also comparable or higher compared to the execution time cost, then what will happen, or the summation of the communication cost and the execution time cost. So when they become comparable, then what happens that when you exchange tasks from one side to the other, you could have a gain when you move from hardware to software as well. It is not that you will always have a gain when you take tasks from software and put it onto hardware. Are you on to with me at least on this?
Yes, sir. So basically, if one is in software and hardware, and if the software execution time is less than communication, so if we move the thing to software, we will reduce the cost.
Right. My point is not to prove, not to say that software execution time cost is not required or which is unnecessary. It is just my point to say that you could have a partition in which movement from hardware to software could also give you benefit in terms of reducing the total execution time cost. If this is if this much you have appreciated, my point is taken. I will move to the algorithm and explain the algorithm completely, and then we will come back to discussing more realistic properties as we discuss on. Right? I'm going back to the algorithm, completing explanation of the algorithm first, and then we will come back, because I have to come back to this figure once more for another aspect. Okay. So now, so what we have said here is that choose a free task B belongs to X union Y, any of the partitions, such that moving B to the other side gives you the highest gain in terms of reduction of the software execution time cost or minimal increase of the software execution time cost. Gain could mean both, depending on what you have. If none of the tasks give you a gain, then you will take the minimum loss. Why? Because that loss can possibly give you a big gain later. Why can that happen? That also I will come to. Okay. But now let us say that you have chosen the task which gives you the highest gain and the one which preserves balance, and you have taken that task and moved to the other side. So the point is you move and you lock that task. What do you mean by locking? You take task B, move to the other side and lock, which means that in the further iterations within the for loop, you cannot consider B again for movement again to back to the other side. If you have moved B from one side to the other once inside the inner loop, you will not consider inside the inner loop again in this iteration, or in this round of the inner loop. This is what you mean by locking. Then you calculate the gain. GI equals to gain of B. Okay. Now what you are doing after this inner loop completes, that means you have considered all tasks. Why? Because each time you move a task, you are locking that. So you are not considering that task again in another iteration of the for loop, inner for loop. So in n iteration, you will consider n new tasks, and the total number of tasks you have is n. So ultimately you move all tasks to the other side in a certain order. Whatever in a certain order. What is the order? At any point in time, you take the task which provides the highest gain and move to the other side. This is the algorithm till now. And then after you have come to the end of the inner loop, you unlock all tasks. Again, these are tasks, not cells. Then what you do? You have locked all tasks and then you have unlocked all tasks. So you have locked one by one. You have come to the end of the loop. You have calculated the gain for each task, and then you find something new. You find capital G, which is G1 plus G2 dot dot up to GK, such that capital G is maximized and shuffle the G up to the K. So what happened? Why are you yawning? I'm explaining you, don't yawn. This is explainable and this is understandable. Who is that person yawning? Siddharth. I understand you have just taken lunch.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So see what is capital G. Understand that G small g's, G1, G2, G3, you had calculated when? While moving these tasks B, because at each point in time you have calculated GI equals to gain B. So you have calculated G. Now how do you find out capital G? So capital G is what? The value, that value for which G1 plus G2 dot dot up to GK is maximized. So how do you find that? You find out a list of tuples, and the biggest among that you find out. You find what? You find out a list like this. See, I'm generating that list. G1, comma, G1 plus G2, comma, G1 plus G2 plus G3, comma. Likewise, you go on doing until you up to you calculate G1 plus G2 plus G3 dot 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 up to Gn. Because you have n values of GI, you can find out a list like this. a list of all G1, G1 plus G2, G1 plus G2 plus G3, G1 plus G2 plus G3 plus G4 up to G1 plus G2 plus G3 dot dot up to Gn. One among these will be maximum. The algorithm says find that element G1 plus G2 plus dot 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 up to Gk such that you get the maximum of this list. You forget why you are doing. Understand at least the semantics now, why I am explaining. Have you got what they are trying to say? You are finding out that value G1 plus G2 plus dot dot up to Gk for which capital G is maximized. So capital G will be either equal to G1 or capital G will be equals to G1 plus G2 or capital G will be equals to G1 plus G2 plus G3 or capital G3 will be equal to G1 plus G2 plus G4, G3 plus G4 dot 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 up to the maximum. That value will be actually taken by capital G for which this summation is maximized. And why is it so that why is it so that that not G1 plus G2 plus dot dot up to Gn is the maximum? Why can it be that an intermediate value is maximum? Because some of these G's could be negative. G's could be negative. Why? Because at a certain point in time, it may so happen that you do not get a positive gain at all. You get a negative gain. In that case, you will choose that task which has the minimum negative gain. So if the gain is negative, why will you make a shift at all to the other side? Because that negative gain can subsequently giving you a very good positive gain later. Let us try to understand this scenario with the example that we just created in the previous slide here. Are you with me in slide number 39?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So see that if you take any of the tasks to the other side, you will never get a positive gain here. Suppose you take A from X to Y. So you will lose by 40 because B to A had a software means total execution time cost for whatever due to this data communication will in the total software execution time cost due to the data communication will increase by 40 if you take A to the other side, right? If you take B to the other side, the increase will be by how much? I am just neglecting this once because everybody has this actual computation time of each of these nodes I have considered to be negligible 1 which is very negligible compared to the data communication cost. So that I can explain you what happens when you have a negative cost, I have purposefully taken these values to be very small to just impress my point that I want to prove here, that I want to impress upon you here. So then if you take B to the other side, what will happen? Your reduction will be by 20, but your increase will be by 40 plus 12. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you take B to the other side, this B and D will come to the same side of the partition. So this data communication cost from B to D will not be incurred anymore. However, A to B and C to B, now A and C and A will be on one side of the partition, B will be on the other side of the partition. So this 40 and 12, these costs will now come into the picture. So your reduction will be by 20, but your increase will be by 40 plus 12. Are you with me? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, repeat, please.
Yes, sir.
So you tell me what happens when I take A from X to Y. Anyone could be a software partition, anyone could be a hardware partition. Does not matter. Why? Because I have taken the actual execution computation cost to be very small, 11111 in comparison to the data communication costs, which are very high. So what if you take A to the other side, what will happen? Yes.
So if I
Because
take
Tell.
so if I take A to the other side, then 40 the communication cost would increase because
Yes.
CBA is currently in the software partition. So software execution part before was 3 plus 20, 23. If I take A to the other side, then the total execution cost becomes 20 plus 40 plus
Plus
2,
let us say 2.
62.
Okay, understood. Exactly, this is what I'm trying to make. This is the point I'm trying to make. Exactly. Then if you take B to the other side, then what happens? Then what happens? Then your reduction is by 20, increase is by 40. What happens if you take C to the other side? Your reduction is by 2, your increase is by 12. What happens if you take D to the other side? Your reduction is by 20, but your increase is by 28. Right? What happens if you take E to the other side? Your reduction, there is no reduction, increase is by 28 plus 14. What happens if you take F to the other side? Your reduction is by 2, but your increase is by 14. Right? And you only told me that Y is the hardware side. Hardware side. And X is the software side. Just while explaining to me, you sort of assume this, right? Which I'm okay with. This is what you assume. So now understand, see that the minimum, the maximum gain that you get is -8, which is equals to 20 minus 28. So what is the gain? You reduce, if you take D to the other side, then you reduce by 20, but you increase the partition cost by 28. So now among all the tasks, if you see, your best possible gain is -8. Are you okay with me that moving D to the other side is the best that you have? -8 or -7, whatever, -8 or -9. That is the best that you can have. Are you with me here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
yes, sir.
Yes. So if you are with me in this at this point, see that now what happens if you take D to the other side, let us say that this preserves the balance. But then if you again take another node to the other side, it does not preserve the balance. Let us say this happens. So now what happens after you have taken D to the other side, and then let us say you take C to this side, and afterwards, after you have taken C to this side, if you can move E to the other side, and then see what is the positive gain that you have. So what becomes your changed partition? See, you have taken D, then you have increased the partition size by 8. Sorry, increase the partition cost by 8 or 9, whatever. Then you have taken C to the other side. You have increased the partition cost by what? You have increased the partition cost by say 10 or something.
10.
And then when you take E to the other side, you decrease, you get a positive gain. So my point here is that, and this could be an intermediate partition very well inside the algorithm. When the algorithm is running, what is happening? You are moving a node from one side to the other. You are updating the partition. You are getting a new partition. On that, again, you are choosing a new node, moving to the other side, updating the partition. Now, so which means that the initial partition that we chose, this initial partition that we chose, this initial partition could very well be an intermediate partition in the inner for loop. If that is so, then you have a case in which the next immediate best gain is negative, but the subsequent gains could be highly positive. But you cannot get those subsequent gains if you do not take this intermediate negative gain. Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. If you are with me, I have made my point. I have come back to the algorithm. So you see that because of this, because you have this small g values, a mixture of positive and negative ones, the effective best value of g, capital G, which is small g1 plus small g2 plus small up to small gk, could be for any arbitrary value of k, and that k you do not exactly know which will give you the best gain, right? Now understand that whatever exchanges that you did inside the inner for loop were all tentative, not exchanges, movements. Whatever movements you did in the inner for loop were all tentative movements. They were not actual movements. They were only for finding out what happens to the value of gi. Now the actual movement, what will be the effect of doing the inner for loop? The effect of doing the inner for loop is this, that you will actually do the movements up to this k. So what is g1? The movement due to some task set t1. What is g2? The cost after you move a task t2. What is g3? The cost after you move a task t3, let us say. So you are essentially moving tasks t1 t2 dot up to tk, right? Exactly in the way that you did for inside the for loop, but you do not actually do the movements subsequent to k up to the nth iteration of the loop. So you do the exchanges up to the kth iteration of the inner loop. You actually do the exchanges. You have tentatively done movements for all tasks, but actually you do not do for all tasks. You do up to what? Up to from the for loop movement number 1, for loop movement number 2, up to for loop iteration k. Whatever movements you have done from for loop iteration 1 to for loop iteration k, you actually do those movements. From for loop iteration number k plus 1 up to n, you do not do. Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So then read this. Find k such that capital G equals to G1 plus G2 dot up to Gk is maximized, and shuffle the cells or tasks up to this kth step and do not take the others. Now, this partition that you get after you move up to the kth step becomes the initial partition for the next repeat loop. So now you go to the outside loop and go inside the for loop again. But what is the initial partition for the next instance of the inner loop? The final partition that you get in the previous iteration of the loop. You start with that iteration in the next one. So now you have an improved partition. So you also have to appreciate that whatever partition you had as the initial before the for loop, after you have ended the for loop, inside for loop, you will get a better partition. The final partition will always be better than the inner one, because capital G finally will be some positive value. Because if capital G is negative, you will not take that partition at all and the algorithm will stop. Why? Because if you see here, how long does the algorithm continue? Until you have capital G equals to 0. The outer repeat loop continues until capital G, not 0 but less than equals to 0. If you have a complete partition in which you have no gain at any point in time, your gain is less than equals to 0, you stop and the algorithm stops. And Fiducia Mathesis tells that typically this repeat loop is around 5 times or So it says that this repeat loop converges. Are you with me? Hello, are you being able to listen? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this repeat loop continues how many times? At most around 5 times. Why? Because your algorithm converges within that many inner loop. It means this many times. Now, one more thing, one more important point. If you have understood up to this, one more important thing. So what happens to after you have made a move? What happens after you have made a move? Let us go back to the example once more, just for once. Let us now, I want to explain just one more aspect. Let us take, you have taken D and moved to the other side. Okay. After you have taken D and moved to the other side, you see that your cost has changed. And what will happen if what your cost has changed means what do I mean to say? When you move to the other side, D to E will now be 28 and it will be part of the cost of the partition, but 20 will not be part of the cost of the partition. So the cost of the what will be the gain if you move a task for those tasks which are neighbors of D, those values will change. That means for B, for E, B and E are neighbors of D. So for B and E, what will happen if you exchange B or E will change after you have moved D. Are you with me on this? I'm saying that due to the movement of D, because B and E are neighbors of D, what will happen now after the movement? If you now subsequently choose B or subsequently choose E, what will be your gain? The gain if you move E or the gain if you move B, that value is going to change because you have now moved B. Are you with me on this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So if you are with me, then what have I essentially, the algorithmic point that I have said is that for all the neighbors of D, the gain values of the neighbors of D will change. If you have a constant number of neighbors, this will be a constant time effect, this computation. The last point I will come to after this algorithm is there is an interesting data structure. I am in slide number 43. There is an interesting data structure with which this algorithm is operated. So the data structure, the
Hello,
list
sir.
are you in slide number 43?
Yes, sir. Sir, hello.
Yes.
Sir, please one more time repeat that 5 times in previous slides. You were saying that the loop will run in 5 times, only that part.
I have not said exactly 5 times. I have said that Fiducia Mathesis, that paper that I pointed you out, right? This Frank Wahid paper, this paper at the bottom.
Yes,
This
sir.
paper
Okay,
at the
okay.
bottom. Paper says that because you see the repeat loop, you don't know how many times it will run, right? We have said
Yes, sir.
that the repeat loop will run until when the entire value for an entire run of the inner loop, capital G will be less than equals to 0. That means
Yes, sir.
G1 plus G2, G1 plus G2 plus G3, G1 plus G2 plus G3 plus G4, this whole thing, none of them give you positive values.
Yes,
Either
sir.
it is 0 or negative. Why can that happen? Because the initial partition was very good. So whatever thing you tried to move, it only gave you losses. Nowhere did it give you gain. Because at any point in time, if you get a gain, that means that value is better than the initial value, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So if the effectively by adding and subtracting all the G values, if you get a gain, that means you have got a partition which is better than the inner partition. If you have
Yes.
that, go to the outer loop again. Otherwise, you do not go to the outer loop. This is the essentially the fact that it wants to tell when it says until capital G less than equals to 0. Right?
Sir, this 5 times have no relation with it.
There is nothing there.
Okay.
The paper says that most of the times and in most cases, the outer repeat loop runs at most 5 times. That means within that many number of times, you converge to a solution. You get an entire inner for loop for which you do not get any gain. This
Yes,
is
sir.
what
So I say that it is an observable thing. It is not an algorithm part.
no, this is
Okay.
not a mathematical fact. Yes, this is not a
Yeah.
mathematical.
Thank you.
Right. So the last point in this algorithm is how do you implement the algorithm? So you keep an array. This is the array of tasks T1, T2 dot dot up to Tn. And on each side of the partition, you have this data structure. So this data structure that I have just circled, the upper data structure that I have circled, you have on each side of the partition, one for X and the other for Y. This is a common data structure, list of tasks. This is the list of tasks. This is a common data structure. Now, what do you have? This one, this vertical list. This is actually an array of pointers. The vertical list from minus Pmax to plus Pmax. It is an array of pointers, right? Why do you have this array of pointers? The lth position, let us say any position, say this is the lth position in this lth position in this array of pointers. So what does it contain? The lth position contains those tasks, contain nodes corresponding to those tasks for which the gain is equals to minus Pmax plus L. The lth position of this array is a pointer to a linked list of those tasks for all of which the gain, if you move that task to the other side, is equal to L plus minus Pmax. Are you with me on this? So
Yes, sir.
so yes, so this one is an
No,
array.
sir. Please once
Yes,
repeat.
so this vertical list is an array of pointers. So if it is an array of pointers, it points to something. What does it point to? It points to a linked list. Linked list of what? Linked list of tasks. So what does these tasks what does this linked list nodes contain? Each node is a holder for a task. That task has what? That task at any point in time, that task has this property. If you move that task to the other side, it will give you a gain which is equals to L minus Pmax plus L. If it is the lth index of this array of pointers. The lth index of this array of pointers acts as a pointer to a linked list of tasks, which if moved to the other side will give you a gain of L plus minus Pmax. Why? Because minus Pmax is what? This is the minimum gain that is possible if you move a task to the other side. That is fixed value. Nothing, they have estimated that to be a fixed value. And plus Pmax, they have estimated that that could be the maximum possible gain that you could ever have. Now, see two more things. This max gain, this box max gain is a global variable which points to the position in this array which currently holds the task with the maximum gain. So at any point in time, you can directly go to this variable max gain and take out the first task in this list. You take out the first task in this list here and do the exchange. So what will you do? You will compare the max gain of partition X and you will compare the max gain of partition Y, and then you will do the exchange. Okay. After you have done the sorry, not exchange. I'm very bad at speaking. So the point is not exchange, it's movement. You compare the maximum gain task of partition X and the maximum gain task of partition Y. You compare their max gains. whichever is bigger, you move to the other side. Have you understood? You move to the other side. Now, when you have moved to the other side, firstly you have to insert that node into the other. You have to extract that node from the previous data structure, insert that node into the data structure of this partition, and you have to change the gains of other tasks with which the neighbors, as I told you, there will be a constant number of neighbors whose gains will change, and you have to shuffle them inside the data structure based on their new gains. Have you understood this? If you have not, I am telling again. But if somebody of you have understood, please tell a yes. For others, at least one of you who have not understood, tell me a no.
No, sir.
No. Everybody is a no. Okay. So now you see that you have a linked list, you have a list array of pointers. And I told you that the lth position of this array is a pointer to a linked list of tasks, all of which provide you a gain of minus Pmax plus L when moved to the other side. Are you with me up to this? Yes or no?
So that is it is the list of one inner loop. The linked list
No, no.
is
Linked and the inner loop are two different things. This is a data structure, those are operations. I am saying that at any instant of this algorithm, at any instant of the algorithm, this data structure is maintained. So let us say that you are at any position in the inner loop, you will have a partition at any time in the inner loop, at any intermediate stage of the algorithm, you will have a partition at that point in time.
yes, sir.
At that point in time, when you have a partition, you will have a data structure for which you will have a list of tasks where this picture will be true. That means for each task, it will have a gain. What is the gain? It is the value of the change in cost or the gain in cost. If you move that task to the other side, for each task, it will have a gain. Each task will be on some side of the partition, either on partition X or on partition Y. Each task will be on one side of the partition. So firstly, you say that at any intermediate stage of the algorithm, each task will be on either the X side of the partition or on Y side of the partition. And I told you for the above circle, you have one instance of the data structure for the X side of the partition, one instance of this data structure for Y side of the partition. So whichever task you have on the X side of the partition will be part of this data structure, the X instance of this data structure. Whichever tasks are there on the Y side will be on Y side of this data structure. So this data structure will have two instances. Some of these tasks will be on the X side of this data structure. Some of the tasks will be on Y side of the data structure. Are you with me up to this? No.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
That where the cell is written, this is the list of tasks in the horizontal line. You have made this cell 1 or 2n.
So what is this? What is this? Let us try to explain me. Allow me to explain what exactly is this.
Yes, sir.
So
And sir,
this
what
one.
I am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you see this max gain. That means it is saying that this cell of this array of pointers is points to that list of tasks, all of which will give you this value max gain. Max gain will be some value, say V, some max gain equals to V. So all of these tasks will give you a gain of V when moved to the other side. So they are just kept as a linked list. All these tasks will give you a gain of V when moved to the other side of the partition.
That is any one task.
Any one of these linked lists, because they are on the same linked list, all of them will give you a gain of V. So again,
But we are not moving the entire list, sir. This is a list of
only one task among them. We will then move to the other side.
Yes.
The others will still remain.
And sir, every time we move from this side to this side, we will get a gain of minus P max plus L. Yours.
Right. For the lth position, if so
Yes.
for this what I will get, that this V equals to what? If this is the, let us say, lth position, if this is the lth position, whatever this max gain is the lth position, that means V equals to L plus of minus P max. That is why it is V. I am saying max gain equals to V, but why, how did you get V? V is what? Lth position plus minus P max. Why minus P max? I told that the 0th position is minus P max. That is why. Are you with me? Or maybe -1. Are you with me? Or let us say that this index starts with 1. This is actually the first position. If this is the first position, then what I have said is true. V equals to L plus minus P max. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So then what is happening? You, and because this is the max gain, you know that all these indices, this in this array of pointers, these cells are all blank. They are null. They are null pointers. Why? Because this is the max gain. If they would have non-null values and would point to some linked list or some task, that means that would become the max gain. Because this is the max gain, it means that those cells are blank, contain null pointers. Are you okay? Those array positions contain null pointers. These may contain valid values. The lower positions may contain valid values though. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So
Okay, we
the
leave. We
last
have
one.
another class.
Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. So we will just very short, in 5 minutes we'll discuss it next day and then move to simulated annealing. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Dale.
Sir, sir, in
Yes.
next class you will explain this.
I will explain in 5 minutes this data structure, and then after we have completed this algorithm, 5-10
Sir,
minutes we'll
sir,
start.
sir, I am saying that this cell, first cell and second cell is also transferring some time cost or something. So you will also explain it, or it is the same thing you have explained.
Tell me if you have any confusion. You tell me now. I will again explain in the next class. But if you have time, you can ask me.
Yes, sir. Sir, here initially any one value in the this linked list has gone from first x to the y. Hello.
Yes.
So,
Right.
sir, and this cell is what, sir? This cell is the list of tasks, no?
This cell. This is one task. Sorry.
Okay.
This is one task. This is
Yes.
one task. This is a task. This is another task. This one is another task.
And sir, these all tasks are
Set
dependent on each other.
These all tasks are dependent in the task graph.
Okay, sir. And sir, one task to. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Right. Right. So, sir, only this we are focusing only in this boundary from where which task is going from x to y. Hello.
Yes. So what are we considering? We are
Yes, sir.
considering, just think of nothing else but
Yes, sir.
task, gain, and partition. Which task? Don't think of anything else, because those dependencies, etc., cost, everything you accumulate for the purpose of your algorithm. You accumulate all that information into what? Into something called gain, right? Gain. Gain is what you, based on which you change the partition, move from one side to the other. Correct.
Yes, sir.
you have nothing else to bother about. So you don't think of dependencies.
Yes.
You only
And
think a task is in which side. Why? Because that will tell you on which part of the data structure will it be, in the X side of the data structure or Y side of the data structure. So the other point is what is the current value of the gain. That will tell you into which linked list it will go to, right? And which associated with which position of this list array of pointers. So there will be a separate linked list associated with each index of this list array of pointers, right? So the gain value will tell you the task will go to which linked list.
yes, sir, I got it. Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
Also, sir, this list will be updated every time after each step.
That's what, yes, every time it will be updated, meaning that, and that will be a linear or a constant time operation. Linear operation in the worst case. Why? Because a task will have at most n-1 neighbors. At most n-1 neighbors, it cannot be more than that. And the gain values of those tasks, those will only change. So it will be and where will you insert them? You will insert them. Each insertion will be a constant time factor, because you will directly go based on the gain value, new gain value. You will know which position in the in this array of pointers it has to go, and then you have to insert at the first position of that linked list. So
Yes,
that finding out which index in the array of pointers and where in the linked list, insertion into the linked list, that will take constant time. To change the gain of one task, that is also constant time, but because you have n-1 task, that is a linear time operation.
yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Okay, huh? Bye then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.